Welcome to this week's episode of Listening and Responding as we reflect on Sunday's message and look at some best practices for following the ways of Jesus as we go into this week. And so this past Sunday, we were in Romans 8, verses 28 to 30, and the message was titled, Love is Everything. And I'm loving what I'm learning in Romans 8, and I'm loving what we get to learn together as we're taking this journey. And I'm even more thrilled that the Lectio 365, the 365 prayer app, has been so connecting and timely, and also how the year plan for the Bible recap with Tara Lee Cobble has connected so well at the same time. And I think that seeing the Bible in its wholeness is so important, and then giving ourselves time to pray through the things that we're seeing in the Lectio app too. So just love how it's all connecting, and that I think is just only what the Lord can do. He connects those things so that we're growing and maturing and learning to see Him so much more clearly. And so there are a couple things I want to leave you with this week from Sunday's message. And the first thing is that we talked about how important it is to see God, to see others, and to see ourselves rightly and clearly, and how God's love is so important to help us on that journey. And so if you remember back to Hank's message on July 21st, so that's about 2 weeks ago, so that's Hank Visser, there are traumas that happen to us that actually become these blocks in our ability to experience and know God's love. And there's the image that Hank actually shared on the screen is kind of burned into my mind of the picture of our brain and this block that's there. There's this bandage there. And so that is real. That is very real. Those things happen to us, and they impact how we see God, how we see others, and how we see ourselves, which is why I believe it is so important to have ministries in the church and available to the church for the ongoing healing of those areas of brokenness in us. And it's a journey. We don't arrive anywhere. We're always going through this journey of restoration and healing and sanctification. That's what the scriptures call it. And so just a reminder that if you do feel stuck, we have a variety of ministries available. So there's Inner Healing Ministry through SOZO, Heart Sync, which is through Win Ministries, and then of course IHTC has a variety of different things that they offer, but they have a new counselor who is well trained in many of these methods, as well as the methods of psychological counseling as well. And so we're going to actually meet her in a few weeks as well. She's going to be introduced to us. There's also Celebrate Recovery every Tuesday, which is about dealing with those blocks that can be in front of us. And the weekly meetings are so helpful to deal with your hurts, your habits, and your hang-ups. And sometimes we just need people to walk with us through those things. And then there's Soul Intent, which is Jane Sider, who offers spiritual direction and coaching. And then we've got Joy Fit with Deborah Christie, helping to move your body. And then the Daniel Plan, which is group-based as well, which will be starting likely in the fall into the new year. And it's a Bible-based approach to our whole body healing and restoration. So you do not need to stay stuck. If you're feeling stuck, I just want to encourage you to explore, and then don't forget the trauma conference that's happening here at Summerside Community Church, September 27th to the 29th, which is another amazing opportunity to explore walking out our healing. So speaking of being in the place in the world where God meets our pain and suffering, so the second point I want to leave with us is that we do not need to go looking for life storms or pain or suffering. They will meet us in the everyday. Pain and suffering is all around us, and God knows the timing, and He knows the places that He has for us. So the good news from Romans 8 is that we have God with us through His Holy Spirit in those moments. He is the searcher and the knower of our hearts, and He is the one praying through us. And since He knows the will and the mind of God, we just need to turn to Him and say, God, what are you up to? And instead of turning to our own will or our own methods, learning to stop ourselves and say, okay, Lord, what are you up to? What do you want me to see? Because oftentimes we find ourselves in circumstances and we think that it's just so bad we can't, God couldn't possibly be working in this situation. And so it's looking beyond our own emotions and feelings and saying, okay, Lord, what are you up to? I'm not going to get upset. I'm not going to try to figure this out myself. Again, God, what are you doing? And He's forming a place in us through which to bring forth His purposes. And so practicing learning to stop and to turn to Him, to trust Him, It's so life-giving and free. And I can say that because when I've done this, things are so much better. Not necessarily easier, but they are right. And when I know God is guiding me, it's like, oh, phew, there's an ease in knowing that we're gonna navigate this hard thing or this painful thing or this crazy thing. We're gonna navigate it together. So the third thing I want to leave you with is we are not all called to be prophets or apostles to the nations. I just want to bring clarity to this because I used an example from the prophet Jeremiah and the apostle Paul. And I just want to let you know that God's call for you is unique to you and the place that God has placed you in, the place that he has planted you. And so all of our work is unto God, whether you're a farmer or a fisherman or you're in sales or repair or you're caring for people as a nurse or a doctor. I worked in retail for 25 years and God was teaching me that I can take all the things that God is forming in me and I carry them into my work. I live out his purposes in my everyday work. And my first vocation is to him, is to follow him, and then to my family, and then to my job or the profession that I have. And in that work, how am I treating people? How do I treat the company? How do I treat my home? My vulnerability and willingness to embrace my weaknesses and my limitations, my work towards peace and reconciliation, my stand for justice when injustice is happening, my willingness to share the gospel and to stand for Jesus. God's work for you is right where you are, from your home and family to your workplace, your community involvement, your friendships. What we are doing with God as he is working all things for good with those who love him and are called according to his purpose is in the everyday. So again, that's Romans 8:28 that I just quoted. But the work, that calling, that purpose is in the everyday. You're not waiting for something else. It's in the everyday that God is at work and he's working in you and through you. And if you're just like, but I don't know if I can see that, ask him, sit with him and ask him to show you. He loves to show us. He loves to help us see what he is doing. And so in summary, because I know I covered three main things. So the first thing, there is help and support if you feel stuck in your relationship with God, others, or even yourself. There is wonderful support and it's all available through us at SCC, connected to us, and I listed those earlier. Don't go looking for pain and suffering. Live in the moment and choose to see what God is up to in and through you, because those moments of pain and suffering find us. Those storms of life find us. We don't need to go looking for them, and we want to see what God is doing in and through us as we meet those things in the everyday. And God is working in you and through you in the stuff of every day. Ask him to show you what he is up to. So those are the three things I want to leave with you today. I just want to encourage you to embrace what God is doing in you and through you. And it won't always look the way that you think it should. Things are not always as they seem. And so we need to turn our attention and our focus to God and seek to see what he is up to. And he is always making things new. He is making a way where there appears to be no way. And so we just want to have eyes to see that and ask him to bring clarity to that for us. And so I bless you to do that, to sit with him and ask him to give you eyes to see what he's up to. So have a wonderful week. And just a quick note, I'm going to be on vacation starting tomorrow. And so I won't be doing these listening and responding podcasts for the next 2 weeks. And so I'll be back August 26th. And so we will see you then. Bye for now.